All right, kidlets, time to start a new unit on, well, it's one of our cooler units of the year, which really kind of blows because this is the unit that would be down to the creek a couple of times, Black Earth Creek. We had the Devil's Lake for a full day where I'm the grill master and you guys are out in your little dinghies. Yeah, sorry, but you're gonna have to do that stuff on your own because, hey, state parks are open. So get out there and enjoy it. But we'll talk about what to do, if you get a chance, get to Devil's Lake. All right. So anyway, the last unit here, not the last unit, because we're going to throw in another one here at the end, but this unit is on something called Limnology. And Limnology was one of the coolest classes I had at the UW because it's surrounded by lakes. And Limnology is the study of fresh bodies of water. Um, Really cool class and really cool material because hey, you're outdoors all the time, you're out in a boat collecting data, you're up north, all kinds of stuff. And why this is such a big deal for the state of Wisconsin is the fact that if we take a look at the map, obviously the state of Wisconsin is it's surrounded by the largest collection of fresh water on the planet. It makes our state absolutely incredible between the Great Lakes and all the inland lakes up north and in Wisconsin. It's mind blowing how cool it is. And it gives us a chance to actually be a coastal state in the middle of the Midwest. It's really, really unique. To give you an idea of how much is out there, all I got to do is go up north. This is where I go snowmobiling up north. Boulder Junction, St. Germain's. Oh God, there's some great snowmobiling up here. That area is it's incredible how many lakes are up there. And it has to do, remember, with that granite and hard metamorphic rock bedrock. It does not let water seep away, does not make good soil, but it sure makes for great fishing and great lakes. So anyway, it's really kind of cool. Now, going back to the Great Lakes, what's incredible about this is, how much it's meant to our state's history and economy. And also, it's one of the classic Marx family adventures where we took off one time and we drove over here is Manitowoc, somewhere right in this region right here. We got in Manitowoc and we boarded this thing right here. It is the last coal powered inland ferry or boat in the United States. And it is really, really a cool experience. Take this thing. The kids were a little early. You drive the car right on, and it's like a 4-hour trip right across Lake Michigan. You go over 900 feet of water deep. And it's really cool. You go stand in the bow, you replay the Titanic thing, whatever else. But it's really, really cool. And it's a great adventure with the kids. And here's a picture of it when you're loaded with vehicles. But anyways, going across, we went up all the way along here through Michigan, and then we got to a place here called Sleeping Bear Dunes. That's like 500 feet. Those are people walking up here. It's unbelievable. These are all left over from the glacier. And all throughout this area here, they've got what they call jumping dunes, where they're so massive you can jump off them and you go flying through the air and land in the sand. It's really a great place to go visit. But what was really cool is we kept on tooling up through this area here, and we went across. One time it was the longest suspension bridge in the world across, between the two lakes here. And then we tooled up and we did a cruise all the way up through here, up into, I want to show you, way up into here, where we went on a glass bottom boat tour and saw remnants of of old schooners and sailing ships. I mean, look at how preserved that is. And remember from last unit, it's because of cold water and anoxic conditions. This stuff does not decompose, and it's all over the Great Lakes like that. Anyway, one of the coolest trips I ever took, and then we came all the way back down. But it just, and then also over here, we've gone camping right along the lake here many, many times. We always take a drive over here because it's like you're going to the ocean. You want to talk about a gorgeous way to spend a 95-degree summer day. You drive, it's about a 2-hour drive. You get over here about 10, 11 in the morning, and on the beach, that water cools the air by about 20 degrees, and you go have a picnic, and it's just awesome. Let's go into the ocean. It's absolutely incredible. There's all kinds of really cool state parks along here. Go do that. That's really, really cool. A lot of fun. So anyway, that's the basic idea of, why limnology is a big deal is because our state is surrounded by it and there's so many things to do. It has a huge impact. Now, I'm going to leave you with here, just a short little video, is actually we'll do a little bit yet. Is it's broken down in two sections. We got the lentic systems, which are still bodies of water, and the lotic system, running bodies of water. And our state is just loaded with these things. Now, to give you an idea of the difference, I've flown all over the Midwest with my airplane, and Wisconsin is one of the best places to fly anywhere because we've got our state is surrounded by all kinds of bodies of water that you can use for navigation. I flew to Nebraska one time. All you had to do was follow the highways because there was nothing. I saw one lake the entire width of Iowa that we flew. Over in Wisconsin, you'd have flown over 500. So anyway, it definitely means we got a different area we live in. Now, why do we protect them? It's really cool. We'll leave you with this one here and have you do a little work with this one. Something called the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal. Problem with having all these fresh bodies of water, we used them to our advantage way, way, way too much, meaning we abused them. We sucked the water out of them and we used them to take away our sewage. And at one time, Chicago had the largest stockyards on the entire planet. Those are pens full of steers to be slaughtered that if you watch old Westerns, that's what they did. They drove them up to trains up in Kansas City, and the trains brought all those Texas steers and Montana steers and everything else. They brought them all to Chicago. And the book, The Jungle, is written about all of the immigrants that worked in these slaughterhouses. It was mind-blowing. You got to read the book, and you got to see what this is like. It was just crazy. So anyway, Chicago had... Now, what do you do when you slaughter that many steers? They'd empty these pens in one day. What do you do with all of those guts and blood and everything else? Well, back then, you didn't do anything with it. You stuck it right into the river. And you had this river that, right here in Chicago, it's kind of crazy. There's a divide here. A little, like a water basin, like a Black Earth Creek watershed. The water on this side, it's kind of crazy. It flows down to this Plains River all the way to the Mississippi and heads to the Gulf of Mexico. The water on this side, well, it flows up this way and it goes out into Lake Michigan. Well, the problem is the slaughterhouses were down here in the south side of Chicago. And what would happen is that when they would slaughter everything right here, all that guts and blood and everything would run up here and it would go out into the lake water in front of Chicago. And the problem is where do they get their water? Well, they suck it back in. And so the people were getting cholera, they're getting horribly sick and disgustingly unhealthy. So they decided to build something called the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal. And guess what they did? Welcome to America. They took a dredge and in like 1900, it was 1900 it began, they dug a trench from here to here. Now what that meant is that the water from here obviously went here, and guess what it did with the flow of the entire Chicago River? It used to flow this way out through downtown. You can take a tour bus through, a tour boat through the Chicago. You can go all the way through or whatever else. They reversed the flow of the river. The river actually reversed course, and now it flows this way. So did they do anything with their issue? Yeah, they gave it to everybody downstream. So all those guts and everything else and blood, they had it down in the Mississippi, and they ended up just feeding fish all the way to New Orleans. That was a reason, one of the reasons why, many reasons why we have just destroyed a lot of the limnological structures in our country. That was just a classic one example. The Wisconsin River was so bad with it. Everything. When I was a kid, you didn't swim in the river. It was disgusting. It took away your poop, and you always got your drinking water from it. We didn't, but that's, poop in a bucket, dump it in the river. And that's all they did. So anyway, it's a really, really, really important aspect of us living in the Midwest, and keeping it clean and healthy is a big deal. So we're going to spend some time on this, trying to see if we can get you guys to get yourself outside and do some of your own little work with this, but we'll see what happens once. All right. More to come.